Hello, everybody. It is Friday, March 9th, 2018. This is the Kubernetes 1.10 Release Burndown meeting. This is the final meeting of the 10th week of our release cycle. Next week, we'll begin the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday cadence of this. And next week is actually the last full week before we release on the 21st. So we are in a relatively crunchy time right now. And before I go into the schedule specifically, which you can see after the fact at bit.ly/Kates110-burndown, I'm going to give my week 10 pep talk, which is we are in a very challenging time right now in the sense that anything that could have been procrastinated against is going to come up and bite us at the ankles like a herd of hungry chihuahuas. And it makes it really challenging to know where to prioritize and who to ping for this or that or whatnot. So what I would ask of the release team and anybody watching this is be extra communicative. If there are ways in which you can touch base regularly on things that are not being done, that helps keep it front of mind for people, because a lot of the time the things that we're dealing with are interrupt driven. I know my schedule right now is very interrupt driven, so if something doesn't get attention, it doesn't mean that it's not important. It just means that it's not right at the top of the list. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and go through the timeline. This week, today is supposed to be the end of docs as we know them, so that they can be put to rest. I believe that is mostly true. And yes, Jennifer, you're going to
mostly true.
Okay.
There are still 4 outstanding docs PRs, all of which are in, well, they're in a known decent state. Let's put it this way. One I have granted special dispensation to. And that one will get merged first thing on Monday. And the other 3, either I feel that I can tackle what needs to be done if nobody else touches them, or they can go as is, or they can wait. In other words, the acceptable plan B is okay for all of them.
Okay.
There is, however, the one issue that I flagged in the SIG release Slack channel on eHorse tracking spreadsheet, which, in spite of repeated pings in the issue, has not produced a response about whether it's shipping. So, we don't have a docs PR or know whether it doesn't need docs. That's all I can say about that one at this point. If anybody has, I mean, Ehor and I have been trying to get information, so it's,
Okay. So I will follow up with Saad.
But yeah.
I will follow up with Saad.
Next week, I'm going to be building the generated docs. There's a short conversation in SIG docs about that because some changes are coming into some of the content that the generation pulls from, but it sounds as though that conversation is pretty open. This is a new task for me, but I've got a week to do it in, and lots of good help on the SIG docs side. So
great.
That's looking decent as well. I think we're in pretty decent shape on the docs side. I haven't asked for comparisons with previous docs wranglers, but
great. Okay, fantastic. And then also on the schedule this week is a pretty good idea what release notes looks like. I'll tell you right now that this scares the crap out of me. Release notes. I feel like this is.
Don't be scared.
Okay.
I'll reassure you right now.
Reassure me. Make me feel good, Nick, because I need it. I need a massage, just like you get occasionally. So.
I'm gonna make you feel better right now.
All right.
So Noah successfully, with the help of Caleb, put together a generated version of PRs. I've just dropped a link to a Google Doc in the chat. So the draft exists. It has had its preliminary organization done. I am going through, and Noah will also, we are going through and basically adding in more information so that we can then edit out unnecessary information. I've already gone through and done a first pass to knock out things that, to me, are obviously not user-facing. So I would encourage everyone to go in, particularly if you had PRs that were not user-facing, and make sure that, you just delete them. If you are the head of a SIG, or if you know the head of a SIG, we are going to start this afternoon nagging them to get the release themes in. And if they don't get them in by, we'll give them a deadline. It'll probably be next Wednesday. They will just have to live with whatever we think the release theme was. So relax. It's all going to be okay.
All right.
All right.
I am just glad that it's moving forward. Thank you. That is fantastic.
It's moving forward. If you look at it right now, you'll probably look and go, ah! But it's not as ugly as it looks. It's just there's a lot of information in there that, and it will get worse as I put more information in there from the PRs that we will then use to clean it up and make it intelligible. And it's all good. So breathe.
All right. I will be the leaf on the wind. Thank you so much for doing
That's
all
a
that.
bad reference, dude.
I know there's going to be a giant dinosaur horn stabbed through me shortly, but whatever.
All right. Thank you. Thanks to Noah for getting that together.
Yes. Okay. And so then we continue on, sort out release branch health, which is happening. There's more of a detailed description below on that, but that's in progress. I have yellow for the timeline simply because the thing that is, I mean, it helps knowing the release notes are happening and all that. The maybe the more harder thing to understand is sort of where all these failing tests and stuff fall into this. So we'll figure that out. Next week is crunch week. It's the last full working week before the release is supposed to hit. And it's the end of code freeze. So after code freeze is lifted, essentially anything that needs to go into the 110 branch is going to be cherry picked via the normal cherry pick process, which is relatively painful. So hopefully we won't have to do much of that. And then I'll do all the notifications. We'll flip the switch in the munger to lift the restrictions on labeling for PRs and issues and all that stuff. So we'll be back to business as usual. The actual 111 release won't start at that point. I mean, technically it does because things are getting merged into master, but the official start will be a different date. And quick note on that is we need to identify the next release lead as soon as possible so that we can have some handoff and all that. So if somebody in this meeting is interested in talking about what that means and all that, definitely talk to me and we can talk about that. It is a lot of work and detailed work, but it is not something that requires superhuman skill, just a lot of cat herding. So that's something we're all pretty good at. So if you're feeling interested in that and want to know more, and you sort of meet the requirements of what are documented in the release lead documentation, let me know. And yes, Jennifer, are you volunteering as release lead? Is that what I see there?
No.
Oh.
We were talking about release notes entirely. Are you kidding?
Oh.
I need to recover.
Okay. Well, I would love to have a non-male release lead, just like we had with Don Chen, and so that would be awesome at some point.
Although following Don actually means that you were the diversity release lead.
So sane person, crazy person. That's what I hear.
Well, I guess Borg engineer, not Borg engineer.
Yeah. Okay. Oh man. Yeah, that was a tough act to follow. Let me tell you. Actually, I'll just as an inside bit of color here. I was terrified to follow Dawn because she did it so well, and things were run like a top. I was like, oh man, I have to follow that. Yikes!
Yeah, it's a tough act to follow.
Step up my game like 100%. So yeah, cool. So yeah, put out the word. If you know people who've been in the release process before, who have an interest in talking about the lead, definitely let's do that.
If it makes you feel better, Jace, that's how I feel. If it makes you feel any better, how you felt following Dawn is how I feel at the idea of somebody following you.
Oh, good grief. No. The job is to leave the campground better than you found it. So hopefully things are better now. That makes it easier for success and not so much manual labor. But thank you very much. That's very kind, Nick. And so, okay, metrics review. Oh boy, my favorite part. Open issues in the milestone are at 22, which is down by 2. This isn't really bad. There's just a lot of stuff that needs to be dealt with. Other sort of metrics around the release are looking pretty neutral. We did have 17 closed PRs in the last 2 days. That is pretty radical and awesome. So that's going down. We're at 15 currently. There are 3 critical things in flight, and 2 of them are linked. There's basically 60926 needs to merge, and then the other fix will merge after those. So there's different states of approval there, but they're both in progress. Important soon, about 7 of those. And I'm not sure that all those had the milestone label in place or whatnot, but we'll kind of keep an eye on those. Dashboards are in various states of happy, unhappy, but we're moving forward on those. Sen's been doing an amazing job, and of course Cole and folks have been handling a lot of the test infra under that, so that's fantastic. So let's go through there. Oh, exception requests. Okay, I have an embarrassing thing to admit. I've been at the open source leadership this week, and somebody pinged me with an exception PR somewhere, and I can't find it to save my life. I don't even know what. It was like, oh yeah, cool, and I just like closed a chat window or closed something, and I have no idea where it is. So if somebody knows of an exception PR out there somewhere, I don't know if Ehor's around or wherever it was, but I feel really bad. There's probably something out there that needs attention, and I have no idea what it is. So anybody hear something about that? Just let me know. I'll keep looking to see if I can figure out where the heck it came through. It is awfully late, by the way, to be asking for an exception. Branch updates, branch health, et cetera, et cetera. Caleb, do you wanna talk about anything in terms of your world there?
No, I mean things look okay. There are the failures linked in there. Some of them, the test failures, at least that I'm looking at least at a high level, don't look super terrible. But Sen or Josh might have more color there. I just forwarded the branch today, so that'll kick off CI and then I'll be fine. The release building, I helped our test infra and engineering productivity team add the robot user to the GitHub organization. So now building releases is quite simple, and is probably also almost possible to be done by non-Googler. I'll have to check that, but I think there's fewer things needed now. Now that all the creds are held by the robot.
Dude, that is a huge thing. Thank you so much.
Not me. All thanks go to our Eng Prod team and David McMahon in particular.
Oh, that's my twin.
Yeah, but yeah. So you'll see the next alphas cut by the robot user.
That's awesome. Does in terms of getting the docs and stuff on the mailing lists and all that, does that still need to be done, or does that happen in Anago still, or how's that
You will need to copy and paste the contents, the rendered email from a GCS bucket.
Okay.
That has all been moved to the cloud. And actually, that should live in an issue now, and you should be able to copy and paste that issue body.
Oh.
But we're still working on that.
Perfect.
Because it failed the last time we tried to run it for some reason.
Yeah, that's understandable. That's a lot of changes. So great. Oh my gosh, fantastic. I'm gonna have to tell my doppelganger that he did a great job.
You did indeed.
Awesome. Okay. Marketing updates. Let's see. I'm not sure if anybody's on here from marketing, but I think that things are actually going. Yeah, there's nobody from marketing. Let me tell you, the marketing thing is fantastic. We at the Open Source Leadership Summit, we got to hang out a little bit, and I just was so thankful to them because they're doing such a great job. Documentation, we kind of hit. Oh, was somebody going to say something?
I actually did want to just say something real quick. I mentioned this on Wednesday, but on Friday, on Monday, the marketing team is going to be asking whether there was any uptick in user feedback on the betas after the article that was published earlier in the week. So if anybody has any either actual or anecdotal feedback on the feedback, that would be awesome.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't heard anything specifically. I have actually heard that people were happy about it, that it was like, wow, we're actually getting a digestible preview into what's coming. That's good, or not. And unfortunately, one of the things that was in there as being a big deal is not going to ship. So, oh well.
That's life.
Yes. All right. So docs see above. The build failures and whatnot. Sen's not here, obviously, but he passed on that things are largely the same. I went through all the issues that are linked and whatnot, and it looks like I pulled out the things that are not relevant anymore, but what is here is relevant, and so there's quite a bit of stuff. Again, not necessarily the most worrisome until we get to a point where things are languishing. There was one that hasn't had an update in 4 days, which was the 60764. And so we basically need to get somebody working that issue or that issue as soon as possible, because that's too long, and that actually looks like a relatively important thing to be getting fixed. One thing too, there's something I'm trying to track down that may be a major problem in the 1.9 branches with the cloud provider implementation in 1.9.1, 1.9.2, and 1.9.3. Not really the purview of this team necessarily, but just FYI, I see DIMS is out there. This might be something that DIMS is interested in, or other folks. So there's a revert that's in 1.10 that fixes the problem, but it's still alive and kicking in the 1.9 branch. So there may be a cherry pick that needs to go in to take care of what is a very serious P0 in the cloud provider code. So.
Yeah, I'm interested, Jace. Just let me know which one.
Okay, yeah, I'll get a documentation. There is an issue. There's also a revert PR and whatnot. So I'll get all that together and I'll share it with you. Thanks. Nice to see you, Dims. All right. Anything on test infra?
Nope, not really. What's the exact time for undoing code freeze?
The exact time for undoing code freeze is,
Or thaw, I guess.
the unfreeze is, let me take a look. Gates 110 sched. Oh, come on. You'd think I'd have these burned into my brain, but I don't. So it looks like code freeze, end of code freeze is the 14th. That'll be at 6 p.m. Pacific, just like normal.
Okay.
And are you possibly going to be able to help me get that through again, or?
Yeah, I should be able to.
Oh, that is super cool.
Yeah. That's the next change to automation, right? There's nothing in between then.
Correct.
Okay.
As far as I know.
Cool.
Yeah, and at that point, yeah, basically the 110 branch becomes completely separate.
Cool.
All right. I don't think there's anything else here to talk about, so I open the floor to everybody here if there's anything you want to talk about before we adjourn. Cool. All right, everybody. Thank you again. As always, I'm deeply indebted to all of you for all of your hard work, as is the community, and I'm looking forward to see you on Monday. And I'll be sending the update to the meeting, so it becomes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we'll be in the home stretch. So thank you again, everybody. Take care and have a good weekend.
Thank you.